Hi, Yaron. Welcome to the NTM Growth Marketing Podcast. I'm excited to be speaking with you today about SciPlay.
Hey, Andrew, likewise. How are you?
I'm doing good. I want to hear all about SciPlay. Let's dive right in. Tell me a little bit about the organization and what your role at the company is.
Absolutely. So SciPlay is essentially a mobile app developer for social casino games. All the slot games that people play on land-based slot machines at casinos. We basically incorporate into free-to-play mobile apps. We add to that a couple of casual applications. We have a nice mix of mobile video games.
Mhm.
We are you can say the social extension or the social division of a larger company called Light and Wonder, which is a manufacturer and a distributor of land-based slot machines and cabinets. And we've been a part of them for quite some time, but we've been fully acquired just recent November.
Congrats on that.
Thank you.
What's your role at the organization?
I lead marketing, so basically looking to um, market our apps to as many new users as possible. This can be done through traditional digital channels like Facebook, Google, TikTok, Apple Search, and those. Can be done through TV advertising, through out of home, some sponsorships that we have in place, and obviously strengthening the organic presence that we have
Mhm.
at the app stores in order to get as many people to download and enjoy our content. So I kind of spearhead that operation.
What does a day-to-day in your life look like at SciPlay?
That's a good question. It's very different. That's probably one of the greatest aspects of my job is kind of having a different daily routine. We'll probably start off by a little bit of just high level analysis to see kind of where we ended up yesterday, how overall trends are looking on a per game basis, if there are any red flags that need to be raised. Um, it can then move to new campaigns and briefs and creatives that we're working on, ideation and brainstorming. It could be working with the CFO or finance on kind of understanding different aspects of the budget and cost management and things like that. Can be developing a new technical tool or an AI tool that will help us with our marketing strategy. So it very much differs on where you want to take the day.
Do you like the day-to-day variety, or do you wish it was same old every day?
No, I think that's kind of one of the aspects that really makes it um, a nice, solid, fun place to work at. Just because uh, obviously it depends on the meetings they have that day,
Mhm.
but it just makes everything super diverse. So that's actually one of the things that I enjoy most about the position.
If you were to go back in time a little bit, what inspired you to get into marketing in the first place?
That is a nice question. You know what? So there was this specific instant there I remember probably back in uni. This was 2007-ish, maybe 2008. So right before, kickstarting my career in marketing, I was junioring in international marketing, something that I thought could be an interesting angle of things. And we had this case study of McDonald's and how McDonald's uses a different adaptation strategy for each and every market, and how their advertising is different in Japan than it is in the United States than it is in Australia. Um, I just found that fascinating in a way that it incorporates um, so many different aspects that were of interest to me back then, which is consumer behavior and market research, the whole advertising aspect, and how creativity and innovation are kind of a key function of that. And it all came together in something that I just found pretty inspiring. And right after uni, I just kind of took my plunge into sales and then performance marketing, and the rest is history.
How would you describe the principles of SciPlay's marketing strategy? What are some of the core
Um,
principles that really guide you?
so it's yeah, we usually work by a couple of pillars. Just for example, innovation, creativity. But I think the main one is technology, right? As
Mhm.
usually marketing and technology are necessary complementary products, but in our case, that's kind of our growth engine. And the reason that we've been growth after growth after growth, just outperforming the social casino market in every aspect. And I think one of the reasons is that we base every decision and every budget allocation that we make um, on concrete, deterministic data. Um, we have tools and schemes in place. We have uh, marketing teams that specialize in BI and data engineering and data science, working on predictive models to understand the lifetime value of users. And I think on top of the fact that that's kind of what really drives our growth is also what
Mhm.
differentiates us from other companies that are very much into the hardcore traditional, creative testing and things like that. But we really put, the logic of attribution and measurement and analytics behind every dollar that we spend.
Can you share some leadership lessons you've learned then of how you hold your team accountable to upholding those standards and your principles?
Um, that's a tough one. I think it's a matter of as the further you grow and the when the performance and the results start pouring in and you start seeing some positive snowballing effect, it becomes very easy to pat everybody on the back and say, hey, you know
Mhm.
what, guys, we're doing great. I like to call it the however slide, right? So when I'm kind of presenting one of the latest campaigns that we ran, or one of the success stories or the case studies, I always use like an however slide, which always comes to stress that we can always be doing things a bit better. We can always improve. We can always be more efficient. Bottom line is everybody needs to challenge themselves, make sure that predefined assumptions is not something that's driving us forward, that we're not fueled by inertia, and that we can keep on, waking up in the morning and asking, where do we want to go and how do we get there, and not necessarily let's do more of the same. So that's kind of, I guess, the key principles.
Did you have trouble with attribution after iOS 14? Was that a big headache for your company?
Well, I think everybody did, right?
It
I mean,
was a
I mean
stressful
that was
summer.
kind of summer of 21. Yeah, that was kind of what they were aiming at, right? And kind of creating this privacy centric world. And a lot of developers, a lot of smaller app developers, indie developers, iOS compliant developers, sorry, iOS dependent developers, they went belly up pretty easily
Mhm.
that summer, when there was, the mass adoption for ATT. And I think that what stood out for us, again, going back to the significance and the importance of a good technical infrastructure, is that we combated privacy even before it hit us in the face, right? So we
Mhm.
had backup plans for Judgment Day. We had our schemes in place for iOS 14, and we started working on them once we had the developer announcements, and
In that
we
December
understood what kind
2020.
of something like that. I want to say
Yeah.
December, September, or whenever it was. But it was, we saw it coming. Like
Mhm.
everybody sees,
Right.
IP deprecation as something that's supposed to hit us any day, as everybody sees Android privacy sandbox as something that could be the next big privacy centric initiator. And we're kind of making sure that when that comes knocking, then we're super prepared. Also, in the sense that currently we're more iOS focused than we ever were
Mhm.
to that extent.
What's an innovation in marketing you're looking forward to in 2024, or maybe something that hasn't even been deployed yet, but you're excited for it as you know it's on the horizon?
Oh wow. We have a couple of really big projects coming up. They are confidential,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
don't
but I
reveal
can kind
anything that's
of,
NDA
I,
oriented.
yeah, I can just say, stay tuned for some big things coming up in 2024 and 2025. But I think the funny thing here is how traditional marketing became innovative marketing, right? Because if you're
Mhm.
talking about, TV ads back in the 60s and 70s, everybody's all about standard digital user acquisition through, the more traditional channels. And we actually saw um, much to our surprise, TV as a massive growth channel in the past year and a half. Um, Not something that we expected, but we actually learned, even not, I'm not confident enough to say that we perfected it by any means, but the growth that we saw year over year just for TV advertising was just tremendous. And that's also due to a lot of different angles that we tackle. Something like TV marketing, starting from the presenters that we choose, the creatives, the agencies that help us with picking the spots and the demographics that we target, and it all kind of streams down into how we do that impact analysis and understand if the next incremental dollar should go to
Mhm.
TV or to just traditional UA. So that's currently like innovative in a sense. But once again, we have a couple of super interesting projects coming up and lined up for later this year.
Uh, how would you say being in Tel Aviv has supported your marketing and tech career? I hear about how amazing the startup ecosystem is. Never been there myself, but through reading, listening to everything, I'd love to hear, firsthand experience of how that has supported your career.
Yeah. Well, Tel Aviv or Israel in general is definitely a hub for ad tech and for gaming, and for just so many different digital marketing ventures. And I think, for the past 10 or 15 years, that has helped me further my knowledge in my career. And I think I'm just super grateful to be part of that hub. Um, I tried some other things, and I tried working remote. And at the end of the day, there's just so many great talents and brilliant minds that are just around the corner. You just grab a cup of coffee with an acquaintance of yours,
Mhm.
or somebody that you know from the past or a previous job, and you catch up, and so many things surface that suddenly pop up an idea that you can then further explore. And I think a good case study is that my current boss, my current manager, um, who is the CRO of our company, she and I used to work together at my kind of first digital marketing gig back in 2010.
Mhm.
So we knew each other, and it was kind of a very smooth transition into working again together. And I think that's thanks to, the hub of
Mhm.
digital advertising in Israel and in Tel Aviv.
So kind of what I'm hearing from that, and I'd love this to be the last question, your thoughts on this is, and maybe this is geared towards younger folks who've been used to just the work remote environment their entire career is what I'm hearing from you, we're doing this remote, but still being in person with people leads to a different type of connection and relationship and brainstorming you can create. So can you share, any last words of some importance of being able to balance those two worlds we now live in?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? This is kind of a not popular opinion, right? But pre-COVID, um, nobody really had that kind of working remote full time, or
Mhm.
hitting the office only once or twice a week. I mean, that wasn't a thing. You wake up, you you take a shower, you go to work. That's just how it is, 5 days a week. And we all, like as a human species, became a little spoiled during COVID, and we kind of took that new status quo and we implemented it post COVID. And I think that's not really fair to the world, right? I mean,
Mhm.
people forget how just interpersonal personal communications face to face are. At SciPlay, um, we arrive to the office 3 times a week, but we also get together, on separate days. Like today, I was in the office. It's not even a work day, but there were a couple of good friends at the office that we had some lunch and we talked a little business and we talked a little non-business, and it was just a great time. I think, and a lot of people kind of have this second opinion about this, but I truly think that one of the reasons for our success is just culture and people, and that
Mhm.
kind of blends into being together,
Mhm.
speaking your opinion, brainstorming, challenging each other, which is very, very hard to do when everybody's kind of in a Zoom meeting, and they're checking their email while they're doing it, and
Right.
and their kid is in the background, kind of pulling their arm or whatever it is. I think nothing beats human interaction, especially when you live in such a tiny place
Mhm.
like Israel. Everything's just really nearby. So why not make that extra effort and drive that extra mile to the office?
Love it. So can you leave us with any websites, URL, social media profiles, best ways to follow up with you?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm kind of novice in what the kids use these days. So no TikTok for me. Don't use
I
Instagram,
don't
even though I
like
have an
TikTok
account
either.
there. But you can definitely find me at Yaron Bartal. Just search me and hit me up on LinkedIn. Happy to connect. Facebook as well. Open to any form of communication. You can also catch me at yaron.bartal at sciplay.com. Um, we can provide all the details in writing as well after the podcast.
And is it sciplay.com as well?
It is sciplay.com. You can find also more information. You can get there through Light and Wonder as well, our parent company.
Perfect, Around. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Andrew. I had a good time. Appreciate it.